Hello, welcome to Statecraft IS and Social Perspectives Sociology in Newspaper series. In this series, we shall discuss daily news articles in sociological perspective and revise relevant sociology related UPSC mains concepts with the help of a newspaper on daily basis. In today's video, we have an article saying 3 held for assaulting Muslim man get bail. Victim forced to chant Jai Shri Ram. Now what this article says is that three people allegedly assaulted a Muslim man and forced him to chant Jai Shri Ram. Now these 3 people were arrested and within 24 hours they were released on bail following the protest by Bajrang Dal. Now what this article says is that this is particularly linked to religion and society and communalism, etc. Apart from that, we can link this article to communalism. Apart from that, we can link this article to solidarity concept. How? Now Durkheim has talked about 2 types of solidarity. One is mechanical solidarity and the other one is organic solidarity. Now in mechanical solidarity he says there is collective consciousness, which is very strong. In organic solidarity, not so strong it is. Collective consciousness is not so strong, and here laws are repressive in nature. Here laws are restitutive in nature. That means what? Here in this particular solidarity, if any individual goes against the collective consciousness, then whole society comes against him and punishes him with repressive punishments. In that sense, intolerance is high in these particular societies. Society cannot tolerate when an individual is going against the collective consciousness or going against the collective norms of the society or collective beliefs of the society. Whereas in organic solidarity, as collective consciousness itself is not very strong, laws cannot be so repressive and they are restitutive in nature. That means they are trying to restore status quo, but they are not so impinging upon the individual. They are not so harsh punishments. So here in this particular article we can see that 3 people were assaulting a Muslim man and forcing him to chant Jai Shri Ram. That means they could not tolerate that that particular Muslim man is not chanting Jai Shri Ram, or he is not worshipping Ram, or he is not following Hinduistic principles. That kind of intolerance can be seen in that particular society, and hence we can say that that particular society is still living in mechanical solidarity. That means it is primitive in nature, but it has not emerged into organic solidarity. This organic solidarity emerges when individuals realize that there is interdependence and there are differences in the society. Individuals must realize that differences, and they must realize that these differences are necessary for their survival, because they cannot do anything to serve all their needs. They may be doing one or the other thing, but for every other thing in their daily lives they should depend on someone else. Suppose if I am a doctor, I should depend on engineer to build my house, I should depend on my taxi driver to go to my hospital, I should depend on another engineer to lay roads, I should depend on tax authorities to get my tax files filed, etc. Like this, my dependence upon the various individuals increases when I realize that there are differences between each other in the society. With that realization and with that increased dependence, I tend to be obliged to everyone in the society and tend to be respectful to everyone. From that sense of respect and from that sense of realization of dependence emerges solidarity, and that is organic solidarity and that is sustainable solidarity, says Durkheim. Whereas in primitive societies, that dependence and differences are not realized. So individuals could not tolerate that the other individual is not very similar to this particular individual. So if I am a doctor, I could not tolerate, or I cannot tolerate that my neighbor is not a doctor. Or if I am a lawyer, I cannot tolerate that my neighbor is a doctor or my neighbor is an engineer. With that sense of difference, I grow with some some sense of rancor against that individual, and eventually I develop hatred against them. This kind of behavior is particularly seen in mechanical solidarity societies. That means if at all I am mingling with my neighbor, it is just mechanical in nature and it is not so organic, because that sense of realization of that dependence is not happening within me. So this particular society can be said to be living in mechanical solidarity, yet it has not emerged into organic solidarity, because when such individuals exhibit traits like intolerance, hatred, etc., they cannot be told as they are living in organic solidarity. So moving on, here it is said in the next article, industry's practices are against national interest, says none other than Commerce Minister, Union Commerce Minister. See, Commerce Ministers, these cabinet ministers come under bureaucracy obviously, but if we divide bureaucracy into two types, one is permanent bureaucracy. These are bureaucrats like IAS, IPS, IFS officers, and the other one is political bureaucracy. These are politicians and especially cabinet ministers, chief minister, prime minister, etc. So Max Weber says bureaucracy has definite organization, definite set of rules. Organization exists, rules exist, rationality exists in the decisions. So bureaucracy is driven by these things. But when Weber has come out with bureaucracy concept or bureaucracy ideal type, for Weber this bureaucracy can be an ideal type, and he has listed some characteristics for that ideal type of bureaucracy. Then Marxists criticized Weberian bureaucracy, saying bureaucracy in any sense represents the interests of the dominant class in the society. Interests of the dominant class in the society, in particular capitalist class or capitalist class in the society. This was Marxist view against Weberian bureaucracy. But here in this particular article, if we see, Union Commerce Minister himself saying that industry's practices are against national interest. He has blamed some industries like Tata Group, etc., saying that these industries were going against the national interest. That means he has placed national interest at higher pedestal than interests of the industry. So this is something which is not in line with Marxist criticism against Weberian bureaucracy. Marxists have criticized that for political bureaucracy or permanent bureaucracy, interests of the industry are sacrosanct and they are higher than any other interest. But here Commerce Minister himself is placing that national interest at higher pedestal than interests of industry. So this is something against Marxist view, or something not in line with the Marxist view about bureaucracy. And this particular example can be quoted in our exam, and we can directly say that Union Commerce Minister has criticized Tata Group, saying that they are not adhering to national interests, or they are not they are so keen in acquiring wealth, relegating national interest, something like that, to enrich our arguments. So that's all we have for today. If you like the content, please like, share and subscribe to Statecraft IAS. If you have any comments or queries or criticisms, or if you have anything to say, please comment and let me know in the comment section. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.